Hey grade 6s, we're looking at divisibility rules, meaning the rules that we can establish that will allow a whole number to divide evenly into a bigger number. And this is a chart that's in our textbook, and it's really well laid out, going from 2s to 10s, explaining the rules that will guide us through the process. So let's look at it to start off with. First of all, divisibility rule by 2s. Well, this is something you should know. You've been counting by 2s for many years, and you should be able to figure out right away which of these numbers is not divisible by 2. And if you look at the rule, a whole number is divisible by 2 if the number is an even number. And those even numbers ending with a 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. So indeed, certainly this ends in a 6, so it is part of our divisibility rule. This number, 3,273, ends in a 3. That's not an even number, so we can say goodbye to that one. And then 5,794, it ends in a 4. That is an even number, so yes indeed, that is divisible by 2. Let's look at 3, because this is going to be a new rule. Those are the numbers we're going to deal with. Now what's the rule? A whole number is divisible by 3 if the sum, that means adding, of the digits is divisible by 3. So basically you take these numbers individually, 246, so take it as a 2, a 4, and a 6, and add those numbers together. And if 3 goes into that number, then the whole number is divisible by 3. So let's add them up. 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. Does 3 go into 12? Yes, it stays in the divisibility group. What about this one? 3,273. Add them together. 7 and 3 is 10. 10 plus 5 is 15. Does 3 go into 15? Yes, it does. It stays. And what about the last one? 5,794. Add the numbers together and see what you end up with. 9 plus 4 is 13. 13 and 7 is 20. 20 plus 5, 25. Does 3 go into 25 evenly? No, it doesn't. We can say goodbye to that number. That's not divisible by 3. Let's go on to divisibility by 4. Here's the numbers we're going to deal with. Can you figure out which ones are divisible by 4 or not? Well, let's look at our rule. A whole number is divisible by 4 if the number represented by the tens and the ones digit is divisible by 4. So with the number 246, you don't even have to concern yourself with the 200. And the reason is that 4 goes into every 100 there is. 4 goes into 125 times, it goes into 250 times, and you could go up from there. So every 100 is always divisible by 4, and that's why you don't have to worry about it. Now you just have to worry about the 46. Does 4 go into 46? Well, we know that 4 goes into 40 10 times. Does 4 go into 6 evenly? No, it doesn't. So we can say goodbye to that one. What about 3,912? Once again, you don't have to concern yourself with the 3,900. Does 4 go into 12? Yes, it does. So that one rejoices because it is a number that is divisible by 4. What about 5,792? Well, the 5,700, again, you don't need to concern yourself with, but 92. Does 4 go evenly into 92? Well, you know that 4 goes into 100 evenly, so backtrack from there. 96 is 4 less than that. 92 is another 4 under. So yes, indeed, 4 goes into 5,792 evenly. Let's go on to the 5s. The 5s is easy. I shouldn't even have to spend time with that. The rule is, as you know, if it's divisible by 5, the ones digit is either a 5 or a 0. So all you have to look at is the ones digit in each case. Is it a 5 or 0? Yes. Is it a 5 or 0? Yes. Is the ones digit here a 5 or a 0? No. So we say goodbye to that one. Let's go on to divisibility with 6. Divisibility with 6. There's the numbers we're dealing with. What is the rule? A whole number is divisible by 6 if the number is divisible by both 2 and by 3. So you have to look at that end number. Is it an even number? Yes, it is. So it is divisible by 2. What about 3? Well, remember the rule for 3? You have to add up the digits and see if it is. So let's add these up. 6 and 4 is 10. 10 and 2 is 12. Does 3 go into 12 evenly? Yes, it does. So we know that this number is divisible by 6. What about this one? 3,276. It ends in an even number, so it is divisible by 2. Is it divisible by 3? Add up the digits and find out. 6 and 7 is 13. 13 and 2 is 15. 15 and 3 is 18. Does 3 go into 18? Yes, it does. So this number is divisible by 6. What about 5,794? It's an even number on the end, so it is divisible by 2. Is it divisible by 3? Add it up and find out. 9 and 4 is 13. 13 and 7 is 20. 20 plus 5, 25. Does 3 go into 25 evenly? No, it doesn't. That does not belong on our list of numbers that are divisible by 6. There is no rule for divisibility by 7. You're on your own. You have to figure it out with your head or with your calculator. But with 8, there is a rule. There's our numbers that we're dealing with, much bigger. A whole number is divisible by 8 if the number represented by the hundreds, tens, and ones digit is divisible by 8. So this rule is similar to the divisibility rule by 4. Because by 4, remember, we just concerned ourselves with the tens and the ones. But with the 8s, we have to concern ourselves with the hundreds, tens, and ones. So you ask yourself, 246, is it divisible by 8? Well, 200 is. So now you just say, okay, does 8 go into 46? 8 goes into 40? Yes. 5 times. Does it go into 6 evenly? No, it doesn't. So this whole number is not divisible by 8. What about 13,456? We don't have to concern ourselves with the thousands because every thousand is divisible by 8. So that's why we don't have to concern ourselves with it. So you just look at 456. Does 8 go into 400? Yes, it does. Does 8 go into 56? Yes, it does. So yes, indeed, that entire number is divisible by 8. What about 75,896? Again, forget about the thousands and the 10,000s. Does 8 go into 800? Yes, it does, evenly. Does 8 go into 96? Yes, 12 times. So we can say that 75,896 is divisible by 8. The next ones are the 9s. And the 9s are probably the most fun because there's so many patterns within the 9 times table. You can look at the number 54 and say, okay, is that divisible? Well, the first rule that I would like to show you is the finger method. And to do that, you hold up your hands and you've got your palms facing you, and you can say the 9 times tables with your fingers. For example, 9 times 2. If we put our second finger down, we can figure out 9 times 2 because everything to the left of my finger is a tens column and everything to the right is a ones column. So this becomes 9 times 2 is 18. 1 10, 8 ones. What's 9 times 3? Put down the 3. It now becomes 2 tens, so 27. 9 times 4, put it down, 36. 9 times 5, fifth finger down, becomes 4 tens, 45. 9 times 6, put down the sixth finger, 54. 9 times 7, 63. 9 times 8, 72. 9 times 9, 81. 9 times 10, 90. So, was our list 54 on the list? Yes, it was. You'll remember that 54 was 9 times 6. So yes, indeed, 54 is a member. Now, we don't have enough fingers to go up to 3,267, so there's another method we can use. The whole number is divisible by 9 if the sum of the digits is divisible by 9. So we have to add up the digits and see if 9 goes into them. So if we add them up, 7 and 6, 13, 13 and 2, 15, 15 and 3, 18. Does 9 go into 18? Yes, it does. It stays on our list. Oh, 54 they forgot to dance. Okay, there we go. And the last number, add it up again. 9 and 6, 15, 15 and 7, 22, 22 and 5, 27. Does 9 go into 27? Well, you can check. If you put down your third finger, you've got 2 10s, 7 1s. Yes, it does. And it gets to do the victory dance with 9s. The last ones are the 10s. I don't really need to deal with that. The rule is if the 1s digit ends in a 0, it's in. So, 240 ends in a 0, yes. 3,273 ends in a 0, no, so it's out. 5,790 ends in a 0, yes, it is divisible by 10. So now you can do things like this with a Venn diagram. The pink represents divisible by 4, the green represents divisible by 6, and the lighter blue divisible by 9. And you can ask yourself, 84, is that divisible by 4? Well, the rule is you have to figure it out here. So does 4 go into 8? Yes, 20 times. Does 4 go into 4? Yes, once. So it is divisible by 4. Is it divisible by 6? Well, it ends in a 4, so that is an even number. Is it divisible by 3? Well, you have to add them up. 8 plus 4 is 12? Yes, it is. So it is divisible by 6. But if it adds up to 12, 9 doesn't go into 12, so it can't go into the 9. So it has to go into both the 4 circle and the 6 circle. What about 468? Is it divisible by 4? You ask yourself, is 68 divisible by 4? Yes, it is. Is it divisible by both 2 and 3? It's an even number. Is it divisible by 3? Add them up. 6 and 4, 10. 10 and 8, 18. Yes, it is. 3 goes into 18, so 468 is divisible by 6. And last, 18, we add that up to 9 goes into 18. So 468 actually goes where all 3 circles join in the middle. What about 393? Is it divisible by 4? No, it doesn't end in an even number. Is it divisible by 6? No even number. Is it divisible by 9? We'll add them up. 9 and 3 is 12. 12 and 3, 15. Does 9 go into 15? No, it doesn't. So it stays out of the circles on the side. The last number is 9,594. Does 4 go into it? Well, does 4 go into 94? No, it doesn't. Does 4 go into, is it divisible by 6? Well, it ends in an even number, so it is divisible by 2. Is it divisible by 3? Well, add them up. 9 and 9 is 18. 18 and 5 is 23. 23 and 4 is 27. Does 3 go into 27? Yes, it does. In fact, 3 times 9 is 27, so 9 also goes into 27. So it doesn't go in the 4, but it does go between the 6 and the 9. And you can do even more complicated questions with this, but get to know your divisibility rules. I don't tell you very often to memorize things, but this is really important and will save you all kinds of time in the future if you just memorize these. The 2's you already know, the 5's you already know, the 10's you already know. So all you have to do is memorize the 3's, 4's, 6's, 8's, and 9's. It's not that hard, and it will save you tons of time later in life. Enjoy your divisibility rules.